Drawing on porcelain, part 2. This is one of my very most favorite techniques. And I thought I'd show you an overview of what you can do on porcelain. It's so sensitive that even your thumbprint will show up. You can go after any sort of texture that suits you, from these horizontal slat lines made with a ruler to scribed lines with a knife or whatever, to those little dot hop-like marks that go across. It's just really a pleasure to work with it. And then if you are looking for a beautiful white, you compress the clay really well and it will come out just sparkling. It's also simple in that basically what you lay down, at least for me, I lay it down, I draw it, I lay down the ink, which is Amaco Lug 1 underglaze, into the marks. I wipe it off like you would a print, because this is rather like printmaking. It would be, say, the equivalent of dry point on copper. So you wipe it, you can see what you're doing. It's for ceramics, it's relatively simple and straightforward. And very delightful. Now, if you're someone that's not interested in doing figurative drawing and you want to do abstract or just patterns, you could see that you could get any pattern you want. You could get little dots like stipple dots, you could get striations, you could have dry point hash lines, whatever you please would be possible with this technique. So, and here I include this drawing on porcelain to show you how you could do chiaroscuro, like very traditional Rembrandt sort of dark light patterns and beautiful hidden figures and little flashes of light. It's totally sensitive to whatever you want to do with it. Porcelain's amazing. So I hope you enjoy this technique, at least a little bit as much as I have. Now, what you'll be needing is your piece that you have drawn on bisque, and now you're ready to ink it up or put the Amaglow Lug 1 underglaze on it. And then, and here I'll show you some more of the possibilities. If you took your piece of clay and you compressed it really well, you will get a brilliant white, because the clay will not accept the black underglaze that I'm going to put on it. So here you see a piece that's just brilliant white porcelain and black lines. So this one has brilliant white, drawn black lines, and patterns of gray. Patterns even made by pressing my fingers into it. You can see how versatile this is. Okay, so this one, I just brushed the black underglaze across the white clay, and where the lines were inscribed, it's black. And where it's just the white tile, it's gray. This is what it looked like before I brushed the color across it. Just the inscribed lines on the tile. Very simple. Okay, now we have been working on forms in porcelain or tiles of porcelain that we rolled out or built with tar paper, and then we drew all over them. So I have drawn all over my cube with a roof, and now I'm using my Lug 1 black underglaze, now that it has been bisque fired 204, and I am putting the black on it, wiping it off, getting it just the way I want it. Here we go. I use a brush, and I use black underglaze that is half and half underglaze to water. Don't use full strength underglaze. It's just too much. You waste the underglaze and you end up with a 1/16 of an inch of underglaze that you have to scrub your way off. Here I'm using my sponge first to get some of it off so I can see where my drawings are. And then I follow up with a good chamois, dampened chamois, that I can pull taut over my thumb or finger so that it doesn't go down into those lines. I get that at McPherson's. There you have it. That's compressed clay there where it's perfectly white with the drawn lines that I got by using just a stylus. Here the clay is partly compressed, partly not. There are areas where I have wanted bright, like sunlight coming up from behind. It's altogether harder to wipe this one off than the top one. Yeah. It's also very rough because of the burrs left from my carving. So let's switch to a different piece. This is a cup for a friend named Mimi. It's an underwater scene. And we've got black lines and patterns. I'm trying to do water, what I think water would look like. And I thought I'd say a few words more about compressing the clay. When your clay is about leather hard, you compress the clay with a metal rib, and when you see that it's glassy, shiny, you can tell that it's definitely compressed. But I keep on compressing where I really want it to be a white shark. Gotta compress this as it's drying down. So when it's leather hard, when it gets a little drier and then drier still, so that I can be sure to have that brilliant white if that's what I'm after. And then if I take off too much of this underglaze, I can always put it on, put some more on again, and work with it back and forth that way. Now let's talk about the whole cup and think about that as well. So here's the cup, and of course I'll have glaze up top on the lip and inside. But what should the glaze be? I think I'll try Sheena. And that means if I'm lucky, the soda ash will migrate out and it'll be kind of like a coral orange color on the outside. We'll see. And back to our planes, the cube. So on this piece, the lines are sort of raised and bubbly. That's the burr. And so here you can really see it. It makes it very rough, and the leather gets actually scrubbed right off of my chamois. If you don't want that, if you don't like this line with the burrs on it, just go ahead and let the clay dry down a little bit. So rather than draw when it's leather hard and rather soft and squishy, wait till it's drier. And then instead of raising a burr, you will just have clay that separates, pushes away from your line, and breaks. breaks off. You'll see what it looks like when you try it. You finished your piece, you drew on the porcelain clay, you got it bisfired to 04, you put the black underglaze on, now you put it in for the firing at cone 10. And here in this up close view of a porcelain tile, you can see how sometimes it comes out the way porcelain is, transparent, glossy, totally beautiful. Every time it comes out differently. Perhaps blue, more reduction, warm, more oxidation, fabulous. And the black lines are as if they were written into a molten pearl or ivory. Beautiful black and white.